You find Mr. Pistorius?
Yes, thank you, my lady.
Sorry, I didn't see you standing.
Two things. The first one is that when I objected about the slamming of the door and whether that was said or not, I undertook to come back to you.
Yes, yes.
We, in fact, listened to the recording, and before tea time, he did, in fact, refer to the slamming of the door.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson was present with me. The second one, my lady, I understand cross-examination, but I think it's quite patent now that if you come to certain aspects of the evening, that the witness will get emotional, and it's being repeated and repeated, and I have a difficulty to understand whether that's really a necessary part of cross-examination. It's ended up every time in the same emotional situation. And I have a difficulty with that, the repetition on the same parts of that evening, causing that emotional reaction.
Yes, let's see.
With the utmost respect, my lady, I don't agree. I haven't repeated. Today we've started at the point and we moved through. I haven't repeated anything today. I object to what was just said about my cross-examination, my lady. I have a different view of the emotional. I might think differently about why he became emotional. But with the utmost respect, my lady, his emotions cannot be blamed on me today.
Yes, Mr. Rowe?
Oh, my lady, that's not the first time that is questioned on exactly the same aspect. It was Friday, it was Thursday, and it's become a repetition, and the emotional response is the same, and it's causing a delay. It's not that I did not allow Mr. Nell to test and to test and to test again, and I'm just saying I don't believe we're getting anywhere by going to that emotional aspect of the events of the evening. It is a repetition.
Well, I don't think it is a repetition. I would have stopped Mr. Nell if I thought it was a repetition. Yes, Mr.
As a good
Nell?
pleases. Mr. Pistorius, I'm going to argue that you got emotional because you got your defenses mixed up. And that's the reason why you just got emotional. Nothing else. What do you want to say to that?
It's not true, my lady.
Where Mr. Roos correct. On Friday, on one occasion, said to you, you wanted to shoot Reeva. You didn't burst into tears. You just said no. Why today?
I don't know, my lady.
I do. And that is because, Mr. Pistorius, I indicated to you how you got your defenses mixed up. That caused the emotion in you.
My lady,
Nothing else.
I don't even understand the differences in the defenses. I don't understand the law, so it's not for that reason, my lady.
That's why you cried, because you don't understand the implications. That's why you got emotional. But we'll carry on. But now I have to start. And for me, to take it further, I have to start again. Now, Mr. Pistorius, before we got to the noise in the bathroom, you screamed again. Am I right? Before we got to the noise of the perceived opening of the door, you screamed. Am I right?
I did shout, my lady.
Good. What?
For the persons to get out.
What did you? Can you remember what you screamed? Shouted.
I think I just shouted, get out.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, my lady. That's what I remember.
If I put it on record, all you can remember is that you shouted, get out. Am I right?
If I may just think about That's correct, my lady.
If you shouted, "Get out," would that have caused Riva to respond?
I don't think so, my lady.
But on Friday, remember, we were indeed. I challenged you on the fact that why did Riva not respond? Did you not address her as well in the bathroom?
I addressed her in the bathroom after I'd discharged the firearm, my lady. I said, Riva, phone the police.
No, I'm asking you before, Mr. Pistorius. Just answer the questions. You've given a version. Did you not shout at them to get out and for Riva to phone the police before you discharged the firearm?
When I was in the passage, I did, my lady, but when I was in the bathroom, I can't remember.
You see, why can't you remember if you shouted at Riva in the bathroom? Because that we dealt with that on Friday. That's indeed so. Why can't you remember today?
I'm not sure, my lady.
No, but you see, there must be a reason, sir. Not sure is not a reason. Give the court a reason why not.
I remember saying, get out, screaming, get out, or shouting, get out. It's possible that I could have shouted for Riva to phone the police. It was kind of like whatever I was saying in the passage, I didn't know what else words to use. So I was just repeating those same words.
But the one thing we know, and the court could be certain of, is that you never said, I'm armed, I'm going to shoot.
That's correct, my lady.
Why not?
Because I never intended to shoot, my lady, and I didn't want the person to know that I was armed or what my position was. I didn't want to scare them and maybe have them react in a more hostile way towards me.
But let's deal with that. You were armed.
That's correct, my lady.
And but you never said to them that you're armed. Why not?
As I just said, my lady, I didn't want to evoke or... I think if I had said that I was armed, I told somebody I was armed, it might leave them with less options if they were so armed that they might react more violently or more defensively or attacking in a different manner. I didn't think about that at the time. I didn't think about, no, must I tell this person I'm armed or...
You see, you were in control of the whole situation. Your evidence in itself indicates a person in control. What's the word you use with the combat mode? What is combat mode?
I don't know if I used the word combat mode, my lady, but
Stealth mode?
I definitely did not use the word stealth mode.
Have you ever used the word combat mode in Twitter or Facebook?
Yeah, I'm sure I have, my lady.
What is that?
It's a mindset that you trained in, that if a situation occurs that you go and seek the perceived threats.
That's what you did.
That's what I tried to do. I didn't have my prosthetic legs on like I had when I'd been trained, but
Being trained? Is that the word you use? I just didn't get the word.
That's correct, my lady.
Okay. So you've been trained?
Yes, as Mr. Wren said, he testified that when somebody hears a danger, you go and you make sure that your body is not as concealed as much as you can. You don't make your profile wide.
I know you think that's a good answer, but being a trained person, the court will expect you not to fire without reason, being a trained person.
My
Think
lady,
about that.
I don't think that's a good answer. I'm just saying what I've been asked on.
But then I put to you, if you tell this court that you're trained to deal with this kind of situations, the court will not accept easily that you made a mistake.
I never said I was trained to deal with this type of situation.
What did you say you were trained
I
for?
said it was referring to in a combat mode what one would be trained as, not in this situation.
Were you trained for combat mode?
No, we've spoken on the range about what one would do if you have a burglary. If there's a perceived danger, how would you go in the manner of clearing a room?
Yeah, we have that. When you should shoot or not shoot, or things like that. That's part of it. But remember, it's a part of it, when you should shoot or not,
That's correct, my lady.
that you put in your tests.
That's correct, my lady.
You said, when I was trained. What did you mean by when I was trained?
Well, it was asked. It was in a response to a question that was posed to me about a combat mode. And as Mr. Rents was here and he testified on an occasion at his range, I can't remember if it was one or more, we had a conversation as to what one would do if one was in a situation where there was a danger, not necessarily at home, or how one would go about. They do a lot of police training there. They do a lot of conflict type situation training there. And so we had a basic conversation about what one would do. So that's my understanding of the question that was asked to me.
Now, Mr. Pistorius, are you saying that your door made a particular sound if it opened?
Yes, that's correct, my lady.
And that's the sound that you heard?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What did you hear?
I'm saying I heard a noise inside the bathroom, and I perceived that noise to be, at that time, the noise of the door opening.
You see, that is tailoring. You know that it makes a noise, and now you want to say that's the kind of noise you heard. Or was it not the kind of noise you heard?
It was a similar type of noise. I didn't have time to think. I'd heard the noise, and then
But it never opened. That we know. The door never opened.
That's correct, my lady.
So it couldn't have been that noise at all.
That's correct, my lady.
And you saying that you think it was that noise is tailoring, is building a version.
That's not true, my lady.
Did you hear movement in the toilet?
I heard it sounded like wood moving, my lady.
Not people sounded like wood moving.
Correct,
Not
my lady.
a clip sound it made when it opened. Wood moving. What is wood moving?
I don't remember ever using the word clip sound, my lady.
What did you say? What sound did your door make when you opened it?
I said it made a noise. It was the wood. It was the frame and the door opening against each other.
Is that what you heard? Is that a wood moving sound?
Well, it's a wood abrasion noise, or sounded. I didn't. My lady, I heard a noise come from the toilet, which I perceived as being the door opening. So
I'm not interested in your perceptions now of what you perceived. I'm interested in what you heard. Please, what did you hear?
I guess in retrospect, my lady, I probably heard the magazine rack moving.
You know what? I don't want us to later disagree. You heard the magazine rack moving. Is that what you heard?
I guess that's what I heard, my lady.
Then I'm going to show you something. My lady, may I converse with the people behind me?
Yes, go ahead.
apologize, my lady. It may take a while to get it, but I think it's important that we have it. Will the court grant me just a moment?
Oh, that's fine.
My lady, the photograph will be in Exhibit VV, but there it is. That is part of Exhibit VV, my lady, photograph 27. Now, you see, Mr. Pistorius, if you look at that photograph, from the bottom up in the photograph, as one can see it, bullet A is aimed at the toilet. You see that? If you look at just the trajectory, do you see that?
Yes, my lady.
Now the evidence is that that struck her in the right hip, and Captain Mangena's reconstruction is she then fell on the magazine rack. Did you hear that?
Did I hear his evidence, my lady?
Yeah, that he said that.
That's correct, my lady.
And you know what, sir? You heard the magazine rack. That's why you changed. C and D is aimed to where you know the magazine rack was. You in fact heard the magazine rack, but changed your aim
My
to
lady.
go for that particular noise after A.
My lady, the magazine rack wasn't found where C and D was. It was found in the corner of the toilet.
Mr. Pistorius, listen to me. I'm saying you heard the magazine rack and you changed your aim.
That's incorrect, my lady.
Because I was waiting for you to say you heard the magazine rack. That you did is when she fell on the magazine rack and you changed your aim.
My lady, I wouldn't have possibly heard her fall on the magazine rack because, according to the state's evidence, the fourth shot missed, or one of the shots missed. I wouldn't have heard anyone fall inside of a toilet whilst I was shooting.
Let us just, I say, I don't know what you're answering, Mr. Pistorius, but the magazine rack, we know you heard. That's why you changed your aim.
That's not true, my
And
lady.
that is fits 100% into Captain Mangena's testimony that A would hit her in the hip, she fell on the magazine rack, and you fired C and D. Now, before we carry on, when you fired those shots, we've covered it, and I have to, every time there's a break, I have to just also catch up. You never aimed. You aimed at the door, am I right?
We've been through aimed and pointed at, my lady. I've said I haven't aimed at the door.
Okay, you never aimed at the door. You just pointed your gun in your right hand towards the door.
That's correct, my lady.
And you discharged the firearm.
That's correct, my lady.
Remember that your pathologist said that it was quite a good grouping. Are you saying that grouping, especially B, C, and D, just happened by coincidence?
No, I'm not, my lady.
What then?
My lady, that's my pathologist's understanding of a close grouping.
Now
Over
what? No, please carry on.
Over 4 meters, or 5 meters the distance. It's not a very good grouping at all, actually.
You know, it's over maximum 3 meters.
Even more so than my
Yeah.
lady.
What would your ballistic expert say?
I have no idea what my ballistic expert
Are you
would
sure?
say.
Have you no idea what they would say
Regarding what, my lady? I don't understand the question.
regarding the first shot?
No, I don't, my lady. They don't discuss things like this with me. They've taken all the photos of Reva out of my files, so I don't have to look at them. So I don't discuss these sort of things with them.
No, but this is a door, and this is a reconstruction of a scene. Was that discussed with you?
I don't understand.
Was it discussed with you that you fired and in which sequence the bullets hit her?
No, my lady. The first time I heard that evidence was from Professor Simon's. I believe Professor Simon's evidence was the first time that I'd heard in which order the bullets had struck Reva.
Before we moved on, I have to just cover one aspect as far as what you shouted at the intruders. You said that they should get out of your house. You never said to them that you're armed. Now, they were in the toilet. As far you knew they were in the toilet, or thought they were in the toilet, am I right?
I thought there was a possibility that one or more persons was in the toilet or on the ladder, my lady.
How would they get out of the toilet?
Through the window, my lady.
Through the window. And then go where? Fall down two stories.
My lady, this question was posed to me on Thursday or Friday already, where we discussed the two possibilities. Mr. Null put to me that either they could have come out of the bathroom or they could have gone out the window with the ladder. We've already covered this, my lady.
I'm doing it again. How would did you, at the time, you're saying, get out of my house, they're in the toilet. What did you think? How will they get out?
I wasn't thinking, my lady. I was screaming for the person to get out, get out.
You see, I wasn't thinking, isn't good for you, Mr. Pistorius. I wasn't thinking, he's so reckless, at least. I wasn't thinking, I just fired. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
What are you saying then?
I'm saying, as I said about 10 minutes ago, my lady, at the time I couldn't think of any other words to say except for get out and for Reva to phone the police. Those are the two lines that I remember distinctively repeating. If now, my inference is that they came in the window, surely they could get out the window of the toilet.
Mr. Pistorius, one of the ways of getting out was to come through the door.
That's correct, my lady.
You never gave them a chance on your version. Because that door never moved.
That's correct, my lady.
So you said to people, get out, and you never gave them a chance to do.
I shouted and screamed for the people to get out, and
you didn't know who was in the toilet? Am I right?
I didn't, my lady.
You didn't know how many people were in there?
That's correct, my lady.
You didn't know if they were armed?
That's correct, my lady.
You didn't know if it could have been a child?
That's
could
correct.
Have been anyone?
That's correct, my lady.
Could have been a burglar unarmed?
That's correct, my
lady. But you gave them no chance. You just fired.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, there's one other aspect that I want to test you on. Lady, may I ask for a demonstration? May I ask the investigating officer to go towards the door? May I ask the investigating officer to go inside the toilet, open the door and go inside? He's in possession of the keys. Captain, put the keys in the lock and lock the door, please. They're struggling to get the key in. There you go. Captain, just close the door. Wait, can you? No. Okay. So just put the key back. Open it up. Take the key out. Put the key back in. And close it. Lock it. You never heard that, Mr. Pistorius?
No, my lady.
Captain, whilst you're there, my lady, with respect, with leave of the court, can I just do another demonstration? That door opens to the outside, am I right?
It opens to the bathroom, my lady.
Yeah. Captain, would you sit on the toilet bowl, please? Lady, I just want to make a demonstration. It's not a joke or trying to be.
I'm not even sure what you're demonstrating.
If Reva was on the toilet, to close that door, she must get up and go out, or can you close it from inside, Captain? If it's open totally? If it's open like that? If you want to close it, you can stand inside, but you have to reach to get it. And you're taller than she is. Okay. Thank you, my lady. That's the two things I wanted to show. But it opens to the outside. You never heard the locking of the door?
No, my lady.
Why would you not have heard that?
I don't know, maybe the door was slammed and locked at the same time. I don't know why, my lady.
You see, we have to think in all those things to make your version probable. We have to think that it slammed and locked at the same time. Otherwise, you would have heard it because you were quiet.
I was busy shouting, my lady. I wasn't quiet.
Okay, let us then deal with your shouting. You shouted and screamed in the passage, and you shouted and screamed in the bathroom.
That's correct, my lady.
You then fired the shots after that.
That's correct, my lady.
I've heard your evidence about STIP. Your evidence about the STIP is that the first shots they heard, those were when you discharged your gun.
That's correct, my lady.
And your version now would be that's the screams that they heard before the shots.
I don't understand this.
They said they heard a woman screaming before the shots. That must be yours.
My voice was the only voice that was screaming that night, my lady.
Okay. So what they heard must have been your voice.
That's correct, my lady.
So even on your version, they correct, except they say the light was on.
Which parts of their evidence and which STIP, my lady? Because they're two individuals that gave different evidence.
No.
If we can maybe talk about which STIP
No.
said which evidence.
No. Both said immediately after the shots, when they looked, the lights were on. Both. Take it from me. Why? They said the lights were on. Even on your version, accepting what they said, the lights were on.
That's correct, my lady. I think they did both. I think they both did say that, my lady.
Yeah, so they must be lying.
They must be, my lady. I don't remember the lights being on. I can't remember when I switched the lights on, as I've said before.
That's a good answer. I can't remember the lights being on. That's what you said.
That's correct, my
Is
lady.
it possible that the lights were on?
No, after the shooting, I don't know when I put the lights on. So they said immediately after the shooting, but we worked through their time frame, and if I remember correctly, what Mr. Stipp tried to put in as moments became 10 minutes. That's why I'm asking.
No, you see, this is now the best part of your argument. There is no way that Mr. Stipp's moments for the lights became 10 minutes. Why do you say that?
I didn't follow that question.
No,
I'm sorry.
you said moments for Mr. Stipp became 10 minutes. That's what you said.
It was Mr. Stipp or Mr. Stipp's evidence, my
No,
lady, where
it's-
time wasn't of any relevance.
No.
There wasn't a set point. If I remember their evidence, they said they heard what was put to me on Friday was that they were shouting between the gunshots, which was on the state's version, but the cricket bat and the gunshots are different on their versions. When I was hitting the door with the cricket bat, I was crying out, I was screaming. So I don't say Mr. and Mrs. Stipp are lying when they said that.
We're dealing with a light, sir. I know you want to argue, and that's been how you've been giving evidence. They must be lying about the light.
They said they saw the lights on immediately after the shooting, my lady.
Yes.
If that was the first shooting, that's incorrect.
Then screaming, as far as they were concerned, between the two shots they've heard. Was that also you?
On the state's evidence of the gunfire or on the first shots?
So that what they said between the noises they heard screaming. Was that you?
Which shots, my lady? Because they said they heard screaming between the shots, the second shots. That's what they said. Which
No,
the
not
state
whilst
says was
the shots were
gunshots.
on, sir. Between the first shot And the second shot, they were screaming. Was that you?
On which series of noises, my lady? On the first series or the second series?
Oh, you see, I don't know why you don't understand. I think you don't want to. The steps gave evidence that they heard sounds. They heard a woman scream again. Then they heard sounds again. Can you remember that? Can you? Mr. Pistorius, is there a problem? You're quiet, looking at the court.
No, I'm not
Just give him
understanding the
time,
question,
he's
my
thinking.
lady. If Mr. Nall can just tell me which, because remember the steps said the gunshots were the second grouping, were the second noises they heard.
Yes. They heard screaming before then. The
Yes.
second sounds. Who was that?
That was myself, my lady.
Why? What did you scream
I
about?
was screaming out for Reva. I was screaming out for her to phone the police.
No, but by that time, on your version, she was already shot.
That's correct, my lady.
So after that, did you still scream out for her to phone the police?
Yes, my lady.
Up until the time that you screamed for her to phone the police, up until the time that you broke down the door.
No, I screamed for her to phone the police up until the time that I got to the bed, my lady, when I
Yes.
walked back to the bed.
Right. Now, were there screams up until the time, on your version, that you hit the door with a bat?
Yes, there were
What
screams.
did you scream?
I screamed Reva's name out. I screamed
Why?
because I wanted to know where she was, my lady.
So you screamed Reva's name out during the time that you hit the bat on the door.
Never hit. Yes, when I hit the bats on the door, my lady, I was screaming out her name.
So they heard a woman, but it was you.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, have you had your voice tested?
I have, my lady.
And could you listen to your voice?
Yes, I could. I haven't listened to my voice, but I've watched. I've watched interviews where I've been on fields playing football with people, and I've shouted out and screamed out. And I've told. I haven't watched or listened to the recording, but from the recording that was done, my voice can be of a high pitch.
So you have a recording where your voice is of high pitch.
I don't have a recording like that, my lady. I
Do
know that there
your
were
team
tests. I'm not sure, my lady. I know.
No, you have to be sure. Are you telling me that you don't know if your legal team is in possession of recording where you're screaming high pitch with a high pitched voice?
Yes, they do have a recording
Oh.
like that, my lady. I don't have it though.
Now, do you have any idea why that was never played to the witnesses to identify your voice?
I'm not sure, my lady. There might be a specialist that will come and testify to that.
That's not the question. That's not the question. The question is, do you know why that recording was never played to the witnesses so they could say if that's what they heard or not?
I don't. That was never done, my lady.
But where you're sitting, wouldn't that be the best thing to do? They've heard a woman. If you can scream like a woman, to play it to them so they can say if that's what they heard?
My lady, my counsel, what they decide to ask and what they don't decide to ask is up to them. I think they've got far better things to look at. They've got people a lot closer that weren't 170 meters away that heard completely different things, my lady. There were many statements that said they didn't hear that.
I'm not going to take you on that. Even if you say that those people will come and give evidence, we know what everybody heard. For you, don't you think it would be prudent to play the recording so the witness can say if that's what they heard or not? You, not just you, not anybody else.
I don't know, my lady.
Why don't you know? You must have a view.
I'm not an attorney, my lady.
No, I know, but you must have a view.
I've got
The
a
people can hear and listen and
Mr. Nell, if he doesn't have a view about this, he doesn't have a view about that. Is it not up to the legal representative to do that?
Yes, my lady. I will not pursue it further, but I've asked him what his view was. My lady. And he's giving instructions to his legal team, and that's my angle.
No, he says he doesn't have a view.
Thank you, my lady. Mr. Pistorius, Shall I carry on?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Pistorius, have you listened to the recording of you screaming with a high-pitched voice?
No, my lady.
Were you taken somewhere to scream at a high-pitched voice?
Yes, my lady.
So you went into a stereo or something to scream at a high-pitched voice?
That's not true, my lady.
Where did you go to scream at a high-pitched voice?
At my place where I reside at the moment, my lady. My lady, if I can also say that I've never screamed like that before. I don't know if, I can't remember what I sounded like on that night. It was after the gunshots had gone off. But I was screaming out to Riva. I was screaming for the Lord to help me. I ran onto the balcony. I shouted and screamed for help. And I don't think one scream was the same. You don't scream in a monotone fashion. When you're in desperation, you scream out as loud as you can.
But one thing we know is that if we have, like the state witnesses were correct in hearing somebody scream, because that happened.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, if it wasn't only crying, it was screaming.
And shouting.
Screaming and shouting. Wasn't only crying, am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
So if the burgers said that they heard screaming, they're correct. That was you.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, the firing of the shots. And I'm not rehashing it. We haven't been back to it now.
Sorry, my lady, I don't... So now put to me the burgers. Mrs. Michelle Berger was the only one that came and gave evidence, I believe, out of the two in that couple. It was the Stips. The Stips, they were both in the couple, and Johnson and Berger. I don't remember the Bergers.
You have a sense for detail. Johnson and Berger were married. And you're right. Johnson and Berger. I refer to them as the Bergers, but your sense for detail is correct. Although they're married, they have different surnames. You're right. Does that satisfy you?
Thank you, my lady.
Good. Now, we will deal in the next 5 minutes with double tap of rapid succession. What was it that you shot?
I fired in very quick succession, my lady.
How do you know that?
Because I remember it, my lady.
What do you remember?
I remember discharging my firearm as quick as I could.
And stopping. Why did you stop?
I don't remember, my
Why
lady.
did you only fire 4 times? On your version, when you heard the voice, you started firing. Why only 4?
I didn't say I heard a voice, my lady.
No, voice, noise.
I'm struggling to keep up with what's being put to me, my lady, because I haven't said many of these things that are getting put to me.
You've heard a noise, am I right?
Yes, my lady, when I heard a noise.
And that caused you to fire. Am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
And you then started firing.
That's correct. My
Why
lady.
did you stop?
I'm not sure, my lady.
Same here. If your version now is that you just fired because you were scared, why only 4? Why not empty the magazine?
I'm not sure, my lady.
Why not fire at the window?
I don't understand why I would fire at the window, my lady.
I would tell you, because there might be somebody on the ladder with a gun.
I thought that there was somebody in the door, my lady, in the toilet. So my firearm was pointed towards the toilet.
Why did you not fire at the window? Did you not think that there's danger there?
My firearm was pointed at the door at the time that I fired, my lady. At the time I heard the noise, I didn't change the position of the firearm. I just started firing.
Did you ever think of firing into the shower, a warning shot?
My lady, if I fired a shot into the shower, it would have ricocheted and possibly hit me.
That is the next question. Firing into that door, in that small toilet, a ricochet of that ammunition would be possible, and it would hit somebody. Am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
So you foresaw the possibility. If I fire in there and there's somebody in there, I will hit them.
That's not what I said, my lady.
No, but I asked you, did you?
No, my lady.
What then? When you fired in there, what did you think?
As I said, I didn't think. My firearm was pointed at the door at that time, my lady.
But you thought of not firing in the shower because there'll be a ricochet.
No,
Is that what you thought?
I never said that. I never
What
said I
then?
didn't think of firing into the shower. It's put to me now, why didn't I fire
I
into the
ask you
shower?
again, why did you not fire into the shower? A warning shot.
My lady, I didn't intend to fire my gun. My gun was pointed at the door, and when I heard the noise, I fired.
Okay. But then you did not intend to fire your gun. Your gun just went off. Is that what we in this matter?
No, my gun didn't just go off, my lady.
Now-
I didn't intend to fire, but I did fire, but didn't just go off.
Is it like the Glock? Did it just go off or did you pull the trigger
I pulled the trigger, my lady.
Why?
Because I perceived danger to be coming out to attack me, my lady.
But you didn't. Then when you said you didn't fire at the danger, did you fire at the danger?
I fired where the firearm was pointed, where I perceived the danger to be. That's correct.
You see, Mr. Pistorius, when you want to, you fire at the danger. And when you don't want to, the shots just go off. Can you remember what your evidence in chief was?
My lady, there's a difference in firing at a point where I thought the danger was and where my firearm was already pointed at the point of danger. And when I heard the noise,
Was it mere coincidence there?
no, it's not at all what I'm saying.
Did you aim to shoot there?
No, I didn't aim at any point, my lady.
Was it just lucky that your gun was pointed in the direction of the
How
noise?
would that be lucky? She lost her life, my lady.
No, Mr. Pistorius, you now try and to get emotional again. But it's not worth your while. My lady, it's one. May we take the adjournment?
May I see counsel outside?
Yes.
Court will adjourn.
Ladies and gentlemen.